Yomna El-Hossary.
You know her.
Sure. um, and she's going to present her paper about interrogative questions and forms and question forms and functions analysis, and natural language processing approach. Yomna El-Hossary has her MA in applied linguistics, and she's a part of a research team in Trinity College, Dublin, Ireland, and she worked as a research assistant in Erasmus and many other projects related to immigrants and refugees. And she published a number of research papers in international peer-reviewed journals and delivered her research at international conferences and universities in the US, Turkey, Oman, KSA, and Egypt. So welcome, Yomna, and we are ready to listen. We are all ears for you. Okay, please.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you all so much for this presentation. Thanks, Dr. Sameh and Dr. Laila, because they are my dear professors. I love them so much, actually. And before I start, I would like to thank my colleague Marwa Abdullah for actually introducing and touching upon the idea of fear and dystopia, which are concepts that unfortunately our brothers and sisters in Gaza are currently living in. And unfortunately, it's something not imagined anymore, it's a fact. So may God save them, save all our brothers and sisters in whole Palestine. Okay. Yes, can you hear me? No. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start now my presentation, and my presentation is about interrogative questions, forms and functions analysis. So it's a natural language processing approach. And the presentation agenda is that I'm going to tackle the objectives, research questions, scope of the study, methodology, findings and conclusion, and then limitations and suggestions for natural language processing applications. So, how many people here are using Siri? Raise your hands, please. Okay, yeah. Okay, so actually, this morning, with my colleague Nurhan, I tried to ask Siri a question, and I told her, "Are you stupid?" Then actually, she replied back, not with a yes or no answer. She said, well, I'm trying my best." Okay, so how far do you think that NLP inventions can understand you? I think that nowadays, NLP inventions or AI inventions are definitely more developed than before. But do you think that they can easily understand the rhetorical questions? For that reason, I came up with this research. So my objective was actually to identify rhetorical questions, cues, to decode their forces, the forces behind the rhetorical questions, in order to create a machine learning architecture, enabling the computer to understand the intentions behind rhetorical questions. So my research questions, or the points that I raised actually, I was asking, so what are the most prominent linguistic features controlling the pragmatic interpretation of rhetorical questions forces? And how can the pragmatic interpretation be presented for machine learning process? In my study, I used one novel, which is Da Vinci Code, because if anybody watched the movie Da Vinci Code, it has lots of questions and hidden meanings and codes. So it's really rich. For that reason, I used it. I only focused on rhetorical questions, not general questions. And I then focused on system analysis, not coding. So it has not including any coding so far. So concerning my research methodology, as for the data set, unfortunately, I haven't used any sketch engine or any automatic tools. I used only manual tools in order to extract the questions. And I had like 367 question strings, and it's question strings, not single questions, because some questions are like compound questions, like more than one question in one question. So the interrogatives are classified according to their forces and analyzed based on their lexes, structures, and context. My tools of analysis, what did I use? I used actually linguistic cues, polarity items, which I'm going to explain in more details, and specific and non-specific questions in order to classify the questions. And for the theoretical framework, I use the eclectic approach, which combines both pragmatic and computational models together. So my framework of the research, I actually had like lots. I used lots of works of scholars, starting from Martin and Jurovsky in 2000 till Krashiva in 2018. And I used both, as I told you, pragmatic and computational models in order to achieve my goal, which is the RQFA model. That's my model. Actually, maybe I'm a bit narcissist in order to refer to myself and write my name and with the date. But I'm so proud of this model, to be honest, because I haven't found any. So I tried to create my own. So the RQs are divided into two, the lexicosyntactic and discourse cues. Lexicosyntactic are divided into the question cues, which are cues inside the question itself, and context cues, which are cues either before the question or after the question, or even the narrative comments, which is definitely found in the novels. As for the discourse cues, they are either idiomatic expressions or implied meaning, which is a little bit problematic. And afterwards, I found the forces. The major forces that I found were disapproval, exclamation, doubt, sarcasm, request, and confirmation. And definitely that depends on my own data. So the findings, I learned something from Professor Nihad Mansour, actually, that in the findings, we have to write the question and then the finding in order to visualize everything. So what I found here is that what are the most prominent linguistic features controlling the pragmatic interpretation of the rhetorical questions forces? And what I found is that the major forces were for disapproval, 34%. And then we have the exclamation and doubt and so on and so forth. So let's see here an example. So if we have the disapproval, how would we know that this question, like the rhetorical question form that shows the force behind it is disapproval? Is that, for example, when we have a question like, where the hell are you? So what I found is that basically the disapproval starts with the WH questions. Yes, okay, yes, I'm about to be done. Okay, so we have the WH questions, and then we have the either the modal verbs or noun phrase, adjective phrase, or verb phrase, and it should have like negative lexical item, negative sense lexical item, like a lexical item or a word that gives a negative meaning. Okay, so this is an example, and you can go through the others with your eyes, because I do have 5 minutes only. So concerning the answer of the second question was, how is the pragmatic interpretation represented for machine learning process? This is the architecture that I have created. For example, here we have the question. So in the input, we have the question and the context, the pre and the post. And then it starts to analyze based on the POS tagger and the n-grams and thesaurus and so on. Then we have the cues identification. So this is the next phase. Afterwards, first of all, since that this is the highest percentage for disapproval, so it will search first if it's disapproval or not. So if the force is for disapproval, then it will click on yes, or it will end. Then it will show you that this question is, its force is for disapproval. If no, then it's going to again return back again from the very beginning and search again for the other linguistic features, and go for exclamation and doubt and so on and so forth. So in conclusion, my main problem was a gap in identifying rhetorical questions, linguistic features, and their forces. The solution was rhetorical questions force analyzer model. The other problem was that machine is unable to identify intentions of rhetorical questions, and the solution was the proposed architecture for natural language processing. So limitations and suggestions for natural language processing or NLP applications. So my limitations were actually like overlapping RQ forces, identifying implied meaning, and definitely the nature of data. If the data is, for example, spoken, that would be way better because it will have like intonation and more features. Concerning the natural language processing or NLP applications, definitely this could be used in text analysis and machine translation. Also, these apps, because we are trying to involve each and every single person in the community and in the society. So people, for example, with challenges or with autism, they can use this application to achieve better communication and results for to communicate in their life. That was my presentation, and thank you so much. And yes, I would like to thank Professor Layla and Professor Sameh El-Ansari for letting me actually to like think outside the box in order to come up with those ideas in this research. Thank you. I'm going to stand here because I don't have a mic there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Yumna. This is really very interesting for me. And you said that you didn't use any automatic tool. However, I see a very nice flow chart.
Yes.
This flow chart means what?
Yeah.
You have list of tools that you propose to use or you use already.
Yeah.
What do you mean by this?
Yeah, I actually proposed these tools in order to be used later on if someone wants to code this. Okay,
Yes.
so I prepared everything. So this is well prepared. It's given for the coder. Yeah. So go code and enjoy your time.
And you think that it will give good results?
Yes.
In theory?
No, in practice as well. We're going to see.
Okay, and can you tell me something about your data set? Some information about the number, some statistics, some general overview?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, like the data was from a novel that's called Da Vinci Code, and I used 367 questions. And I don't have actually right now, I can't remember the accurate number of words, but like it took like they were like maybe 4 or 5 pages or something like that. So yeah, it was
but yeah. This is really interesting for me, and maybe this is the first presentation where I have seen something technical regarding flowchart, some kind of tools, some proposal, some really NLP approach. So thank you very much for this, and I hope that the next paper will be the result of such a good flowchart.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you.
Thank you, Yumna, very much. And of course, as I did enjoy before, I enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
Except when you have this tendency towards narcissism, we say it, the researcher's framework.
Yeah.
Not El-Hossary.
Yeah.
This is what I usually do while supervising your, but apart from that, you have done a great effort and appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you have any questions, any comments?
Thank you.